Well, I thought he did pretty well. He had a nice kickoff return. I think one punt return, if I recall correctly. So, collectively, it was a better ball game for him. Yeah. Well, yes, I do, and Coach Steckel, was also wanting to do so, but you know, uh, probably the hard part for them, I guess, if there's a good thing for them. I mean, he wanted to stay in there and compete, and I wanted our guys because we have a lot of guys that are twos, so to speak, threes, who we really wanted to get in the ball game. But there was, I guess, I wasn't outside, but I guess that there's still more coming, and consequently, they had the bus over here, so they're talking about a long time. So I get it. I think all the players wanted to play on their side as well as on ours, but so be it. Well, that was the intent. See, it was my understanding that if we had this kind of weather, that the ball game had to go into the third quarter, and that you had to have a snap in the third quarter, which is true in conference games, but that's not the case in non-conference games. So that was the thinking behind it. Yes. Well, we did play well. We gave up some plays. They did a nice job, I thought, with using their, and they had, lost their number one quarterback to, and I share this. I admire Coach Steckel. I admire that program. You got your starting quarterback, and to issue that kind of discipline, immediately after it happened. I just admire him for taking that kind of a stance. However, the guy that lined up to play against us was their starter for 9 games last year, so he had some capabilities as well. Then they had the backup that came in and ran the quarterback run game and the draw, and that was probably if we had any issues at all defensively, it was giving up a few things in the draw game, quarterback draw, and then one other draw that they got against us. Outside of that, I thought we played well. Well, the last time that we met as a team, I went back over that and was explicit with the entire team. You didn't see Charles back in the ball game, and Charles has issued an apology to his teammates, but that's part of the discipline, and that goes along. And it's not that I had to address that with our team, because that has always been our policy. And you find, every player in our program has always, done that. And why he chose to do that is, well, I just don't really know. But, again, it just goes back to the discipline of things. Until we can clean up all the discipline issues, then we will not be the team that we're capable of being. Well, there were some other things as well, that were discipline issues that I won't necessarily address here. We had 2 penalties in the ball game. One took us out of scoring position, so that's an issue as well. So even though it was limited considerably, we had 10 the first half last week. had 2 this half. Yes, that's improvement, but not quite enough. Because you never know, how costly they can be, and that one was very costly. Well, again, you know how I'm gonna respond to that. Ask me when we get back from West Virginia, whether we are or not. I'd like to think we're getting closer, truly, but I don't know yet. And one of the unfortunate things about only playing a half is, you've got those twos, and so that we need, and that's 2 out of 3 ball games in non-conference that we haven't had the opportunity to really get, our twos on the field, and that, unfortunately, hopefully, it won't cost us, but down the road, that might be an issue for us. Well, I think the offense started, because you go back and you look, we've had, successive ball games in which, at some segment we didn't. In the first game we didn't start the first half. In the second game we didn't start the second half. We only had 1, so I don't know. That's one of the reasons I wanted to play second half, see whether we could get the doggone thing started or not. But they did do that. We, I wasn't too happy. We didn't convert. I think we were. I don't know what the number was. We didn't convert enough third down snaps. Percentage was not real high, but I thought we sustained drives. Regardless of where we happened to get the ball. Kicking game turned the ball over for us pretty good. Gave good field position for the offense. So, it wasn't a grandiose test in that respect. And like last week when they. In the first drive of the ball game, they went 91 yards, I think, something like that, or 89 yards, for a touchdown drive. That's a pretty positive thing. We didn't have to go that far. I think we went 60-something on the first one, but nevertheless, we did it. Regardless of what the distance was. So, I was pleased about that, and obviously threw the ball reasonably well. We didn't have any lost yardage plays. We didn't take any sacks. I say we didn't have any statistics. It says, I think the stat sheet says, Kenny can correct me if I'm wrong here, but I think it says we had 0 lost yardage plays. It seemed like there was one. Yeah, I thought there was a lost yardage play in there, one of the option pitches that happened. But if we only had 1, then that's a little bit of an improvement. Well, he's intent about it. He gets off the ball well. He's well focused on the snap. A lot of guys, jump off sides, and our guys have shown good discipline of not doing that. But a lot of defenders, just watch the offensive lineman. They move when he moves, and that makes him a step slow. And he's got his eyes on the ball, and when that ball moves, he's going. And gets a jump on guys. He gets pretty good width and gets around the edge. He's hard upfield, and that gives him that opportunity to turn the corner, and he's strong enough that, when he can turn the corner, you better be in good position or you break your hands down and get to the ball, and he does that. And he's persistent about it. It's not as though he, gives you a good hard rush one time and not the next, but, every single time, he's giving you the best effort that he can. Well, I think it's making progress. I think last week was far better than the first game, and granted they're not Stanford, but nevertheless, the mechanics of what you do and not having the delay of games and not getting us into bad plays, keeping us out of bad plays, etc. All that is major, and that doesn't have anything to do with who lines up on the other side. So, from that respect, he has made good progress. I thought he's You know, he stayed in the pocket when he had to. He brought it down and flushed when he had to. Got good yardage on the scramble. So you know, the progress is good. Let me put it that way. Making headway. Getting closer.